Hello friends, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Chrissy and today I'm starting a tag series, I don't know, that I am calling Connect and Collect to just to sort of bring in this concept that we don't have to choose, right? We can have a collection that we connect with. And there's so much chatter right now around collection versus libraries and only having what we use and only using what we have. And I just want to provide space for us to come back to the practice that we love so much, or we wouldn't be here. And when I was thinking about how to continue to create content, I'm also in the middle of Vlogust, which is a video every day in the month of August. So I'm like having to dig deep to drum ideas. So I'm not doing like day in the life and drive through tarot every day. So I started thinking about how I could talk about the ways that I connect with my decks, the way that I want to connect with my decks, the way that I form a relationship with them, so I know how they show up for me and when to use them. And yeah, so for the month of August, and I realize that I'm deciding this on like the 8th of August, so I'm a little behind. I've been working with this deck all month. I'm just now showing up to tell you all about it. But the deck that I've chosen for August is the Terra Volatile. This deck, it has it out for me. I'm not gonna lie. But a few logistical things about the deck first. The deck is massive. So both of these piles are, I got the deck and the expansion pack, and I think there may actually be more cards in the deck that the side that I am not using, as opposed to the side that I am. So when I bought the deck, I was actually pretty disappointed to learn that the expansion pack does not have a guidebook yet. And this is the study deck that I am working through as a student of Inner Wands Tarot School. It's important to me to always be a teacher and a student of anything that I do, so I can get like the true experience and like to practice what I teach. And a big part of the tarot school that I'm teaching is connection with the guidebook and seeing, you know, the artist's intention, the creator's intention for the cards. And without the guidebook, that whole piece isn't possible. So when I received the deck, the very first thing that I did was I went through and I pulled out all of the cards that don't have a entry in the guidebook, just because. And I was really bummed to not be able to use the labyrinth in place of the star, because labyrinths I have a deep spiritual and emotional connection to labyrinths. So I was really disappointed that I didn't get to use some of these cards that I would have chosen and that I may choose to use when I practice with the deck. But as I'm studying with the deck, the ones that aren't in the guidebook just didn't work for me. The other thing I did that I will eventually reunite in the deck is I took out the suit of vessels. They are in the guidebook, and I'm very excited to work with them, and I will, but also being aware that I am teaching the straight 78. So that is all that is going to be in my deck for August and September and part of October as I move through Inner Wands Tarot School, a card a day. So yeah, any card that is not in the guidebook, duplicates, and the suit of vessels are in this deck that live in this bag here. There were a few concessions that I did make. I did choose several of the princesses over the pages just because there was one in particular that I absolutely loved. So that is something that you that you will see. So a few of the like the resources that I am using. These are the 2 books that I am studying with. This is a decomposition notebook. I love these things. I realized that for a long time I used Leuchtturms, and there's something about them that, one, feel really precious to me, and I'm really reluctant to start one because if I lose my momentum, then there's like shame in it not being filled. But there's something about black pen on white paper that just feels really good. And there's something about the academicness of, is that a word, of this paper that also just feels really nice to me. So these are, like I said, I'm teaching and studying tarot right now. So I have this is the first page and a half or so, page and a third is my teaching notes. And then I go through studying the deck itself. So for each card, I'll have my intuitive hits, what the guidebook tells me, and then a 3-card reading. So by the time I'm done, I will have touched each card 3-ish times, definitely 2 times, and then random draws here and there. I'm really loving this as a study. And then I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but this is a beautiful leather binder that I bought my husband for Valentine's Day years ago. Is there a year on this? There isn't. It's from, the company is Murdy. I don't know where I found it. Like I said, years ago. He keeps music in it. He's not really out playing music right now. It doesn't stay open, so it always just looks awkward and like cumbersome when he's using it. So I asked him if I could borrow it through Inner Wands Tarot School to hold my guidebook, and he said yes. So, so I am borrowing my husband's beautiful, oh my gosh, and beautiful smelling leather binder where I have printed up the guidebook for Terra Volatile. I tried just having it electronic and it didn't work. Bringing an electronic device into this practice felt, it was just unwelcome for me. So yeah, I borrowed this binder and I printed up the guidebook. This is my copy. It will never leave my house. If at any point if I decide that it is not, that I am not using it, I will shred it. It's not for sale. It's not for duplication. It's just simply my copy of the guidebook. So we've got my notes. We've got the guidebook. I would show you my pen of choice, but I guess I left it downstairs, which is very unlike me. It's a, actually no, I'm kind of wondering what I did with it because it's usually stuck here. It is a 7-year pen that has a really cute little gnome on it. All right, I'm gonna tell myself it's downstairs. I'm not gonna continue to think about it. So let's look at the Terra Volatile. So this deck, right away, it tells me like it is. I love the, what's the word I want to use here? It feels like this deck doesn't pull any punches. Like there doesn't seem to be a need to really read deep into the cards. I enjoy doing so, or I wouldn't have printed up the guidebook, but there doesn't feel like a need for that. I'm going to shuffle these. There's no need to keep them in order. What I have found very interesting about working with this deck now for a little over a week is how it feels like it goes back to, like, for lack of a better way to put it, old school tarot for me. Like I don't typically read the Hierophant as like authority and like something or someone having spiritual authority over me. but that's the way that this card reads. I don't typically read the Lovers as making a choice, but that is how this card reads. Then there are little touches like here on the Chariot. Instead of the wheels being concrete and planted on the ground, they're facing a different direction than the horse. So like they're still going to move, but it's not going to be in the direction of the circles. Like this imagery is great. I'm also super invested in these women, a lot of them being curvy. Like you can tell she's got a belly, she's got thick little legs, her face is chunky. I feel I love this deck. I could sincerely I could eat it up. Prudence. I pulled Prudence in instead of the Hangman just because I loved her expression. I love this concept, this look of just like, ugh, I know what you're saying is true. I appreciate this perspective. I really don't want it, but now that I have it, I guess I gotta go with it. I love that. So this is really funny. I basically chose Rebirth here because it reminded me of Vecna. It is what it is. I love how it's like all like old art, and I'm like, Stranger Things in the house. So yeah, I chose Rebirth instead of the Tower because it reminded me of Vecna. I love Temperance's just over it expression here. This deck is everywhere, so I'm just looking for cards like I have something to say about. The celebratory nature here of the sun is really interesting. I love that we still have the child, we still have the horse, we still have the sunflowers and the flag here, but the flag is this yellowy brown instead of red, which to me speaks more of like to the sacral chakra, the sacral and the solar plexus chakra more than the root chakra, which I love. And I haven't read through. I mean, I've read the guidebook for the cards that I have studied so far, but I haven't just done a through read of the guidebook, so I don't know like what imagery I will connect with at a later point and what connections I'll make. But this is we'll go ahead and go through the deck numerically. I don't remember who I saw do this, and I wish I had taken note of that, but I really enjoyed. I know Lisa Pepez did this with the courts, at least, with the Nicole Chaletta. No, I totally said that wrong. But without looking at it, I can't see it. Nicoletta Ciccoli. Goodness, Chrissy. We knew what I meant there, right? And just looking at the similarities as we go through the suits. So with the ones, we have the symbols. With the twos, moving from the cups, the coins, the swords, the wands. With the threes, the community, the working together, the healing our wounds, and the ready, the impatience. These two cards are two of my absolute favorite cards in the deck. I love them very, very much. And again, these are my choices from the deck. A lot of these cards had more than one. I actually found that I had included two Six of Pentacles and no Nine of Cups, maybe? I don't remember, but I hadn't even sorted it right, and I caught that when I put them in order here. Also worth mentioning, the Terra Volatile lists the Pentacles as coins. It's completely, I'm a Pentacles person, so if I say Pentacles, and it's coins in this deck, and that's fine. So we have the fours. I love this four, and seeing how like this cup is over here waiting, and the character is like, oh, I don't know if I have time for this. I'm still looking at these, how they're all connected, but there's just more to learn over here, but we get to decide when it's time for that. I also enjoy how the Four of Swords is just take a little cat nap, no big deal, just a little nap. Moving into the Five, so like the furthest point from both the beginning and the end, the midpoint, the really uncomfortable place in the process. Looking at the sixes, the Six of Swords is without question my favorite card, my favorite tarot card. If a deck I'm not one on deal breakers, but if I don't like the Six of Swords, I have a really hard time using a deck. If I love the Six of Swords, I can pretty much overlook anything. It's just, I love the Six of Swords. And this Six of Cups, I talk about it in another video that's coming up. I think there's a lot to learn from this Six of Cups. Do I want to talk about the Six of Wands? And like, no, I don't want to talk about the Six of Wands today. That make it its own little chat. We have the Sevens. What are we fighting? Are we preserving the right thing? Are we putting our effort in the right place? And what is the right place? I love the Sevens laid out together. I think they make more sense as a little quad than they do on their own, and that we can really glean a lot of understanding of how it's the similar energy with either hope or despair, or a little bit of both within each suit. Moving to the Eights, the Cups, the Pentacles. I also really love the Eight of Pentacles in general. The Swords and the Wands. We're coming up on a card that makes me laugh, and I can't wait. We have the Nines, the Cups. Not a big fan of the drunkard guy, but in general, but he's kind of jovial, so I'll take it. The Pentacles, the Swords, and the Wands. I really like this Nine of Wands. And then the Tens. We have a pretty typical, the Ten of Cups. What interests me about the Ten of Cups, and again, I haven't read the guidebook about this yet, is how threatening the sky looks. And how, yes, we see the 10 cups here, but there's this, the figure here is like obviously attentive and maybe kind of scared. This to me looks like a tornado sky, and I'm really curious, interacting with this card, how that's going to play out. We have the Pentacles, the Swords, and this Ten of Wands. I love it. It makes me laugh. It's really funny. Like in this deck, this card, the Ten of Wands, is my favorite card, and in the Guided Hand Tarot, the Ten of Wands is my favorite card. I love how the wands here are numbered. Right? There's this acknowledgement of like, dude, you got a lot of wands. Do you need them all? Do you know how many you have? Is this really the comfortable way to carry them? Do you have to carry them all? This card cracks me up, just the numbers on it. It's just such a beautiful and tongue-in-cheek, almost like passive-aggressive way to say, buddy, count what you're carrying. Is this necessary? I love it. So with the pages, I went with 3 princesses and kept 1 page. I love this Princess of Cups. She's everything. The Princess of Swords here, man, she ain't messing around. She's what I had an initial like very visceral reaction to this card, and I'm like, I don't want a severed head on my deck, but I'm like, but look at her. She knows exactly what she did. She knows exactly why she did it. The Princess of Swords, man, she's got it. She can do it. Moving on into the Knights. all on different creatures. We have a blindfolded horse on the cups. The Knight of Coins, I'm not sure what sort of, if he's riding like a giant goat, I'm not exactly sure what he's on. The Knight of Swords is on Pegasus, and the Knight of Wands is on like a skeleton llama thing. I mean, that's a pretty fierce card. Yeah, I look forward to getting to know the knights better. Looking at the queens, we have the cups, the coins, the swords, and the wands. The side eye from the Queen of Swords is like just about perfect, right? I say a lot that the Queen of Swords is my Christina Yang, and that is a Christina Yang look. If she's calling me a number, right? She's calling me a 3. I could just, it's Christina Yang. And then the kings. Yeah, moving through cups, coins, swords, and wands. I am not showing today the vessel suit. I am not showing the expansion pack, and I am not showing the duplicate cards that I did not choose. They're all in this baby here. This is a beautiful linen cardstock. I'm guessing 310, maybe 320 GSM. The deck that I created is 310 and linen, and it feels very, very similar. I can't tell if mine is softer because I have shuffled it 50,000 times, or because this one may have a little more oomph in it. Regardless, it is a stunningly beautiful shuffle. A very, very rewarding bridge. Can I do a bridge sideways without making a mess? No. So I'm not even gonna try. I'm totally enamored with this deck. And throughout the rest of the month, I plan on showing you how I bond with the deck, how I practice with it. I've got a drive through tarot coming up that I've done with this deck. I've got a really fun superlative, like high school personalities little review that I've done with this deck. I've been recording snippets as I've been practicing with it throughout the month to then do in like a Katie Flowers style monthly review and how I worked with it. I adore this deck. It calls me on my crap. It doesn't hide anything. It is absolutely, and the fourth card again is the Hierophant. It is not my aesthetic at all. Absolutely, I mean, not even close. I don't know, honestly, why I bought it. I don't know. But other than it said, Chrissy, bring me home. And I said, okay. That's all I've got. I made a cute little wrap for this puppy. It's so funny. I originally had it in a little recycled fabric wrap, and the deck said no, not for me, which is funny. Like, I'd never felt the energy. I'm not someone who really personifies my decks a lot, so it was shocking to me when like the energy was very clearly unhappy in that wrap. Then I put it in another wrap that I had that it was also not happy with at all. I found this fabric in my fabric stash. It was actually already cut into pieces. I had to sew it together. This was the original wrap that it was in that I now have the additional cards in. And I've made this wrap from fabric I got from Spoonflower that I absolutely love. historical reprint, saved something, what it would look like. I don't remember the wording. I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks like an old tapestry, and it goes with the back of the deck, and I absolutely love it. And the deck is happy here. More important than how I feel, the Terra Volatile is happy here. So this is my Connect and Collect deck that I'm using for the month of August. I might have said July earlier, but this is August. This is August 22. This is the part of the deck that I'm using now, and this is the part of the deck that I will eventually incorporate when I feel solid with this deck and when there's a guidebook. I'm really bummed about this, friends, in case you hadn't noticed. I'm really bummed. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this. I would love to see and hear about what decks you have, what decks you're working with, and how you manage, you shuffle? What's the word I'm looking for? It's obviously time for me to stop talking when I've lost the words. How you juggle, that's the word I was going for, both connecting and collecting tarot. Have a great day. I'll see you all soon. Bye.